Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show, where I am very happy to have some of my very favorite guests here in studio. Jen Billow joins us, and she's the Associate Director of the Park City Education Foundation. And with her, Kristen Nilsson, who is the Summit County Youth Librarian. Welcome, both of you, to the show. It's great to have you.
Thanks, Joe.
I'm thrilled. Park City Education Foundation, you guys have been, you've had a busy year.
We had a busy year.
You've been giving out grants, you've been doing stuff with writing. There's just so much to talk about. Let's start with the grants, because you guys have had time to figure out who is getting money and for what, and it's pretty awesome.
It is. It's really exciting. Just this past year, we infused about $1.5 million back into the school district. So it's a giant number. It's about 20% of the district's discretionary budget.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty exciting, and we can only do that because of the generosity of the community. What I think is exciting for next year, so we've had our school grants have been written, requested, and we've just awarded $150,000 in those. Our district grants are due Friday. Those are really big grants, and we have another $150,000 to give out in that. And then we have our signature grants, which we do a 3-year commitment, and that's another $300,000.
Wow.
So before we're not even done with this school year, which ends June 30th, we're already committed to $600,000 for next year. And it's exciting. I mean, there's some old favorites are back. So at Ecker Hill, there's smart music where you practice when you're learning your trombone, and it's painful, and you practice into your computer, and it tells you if, as you've passed off on Mary Had a Little Lamb or not. And so
listens to your notes and make sure that they're pretty close to correct.
It does.
Yeah.
And it is.
None of mine are, ever.
No, and it's not painful, so so you don't have to sit in class and wait for 60 kids to pass off Mary Had a Little Lamb.
I got to tell you a funny story about that. So my dad, who was a music teacher as well, sent me a cornet or trumpet in the mail. He was so desperate to teach me that he called on speakerphone once a day to have me play over the phone. Oh. Very much in the same vein as doing it to the computer. That was just a little different with Dad.
Yeah, that was the technology when we were kids. Right?
That was our technology. So there you go. Pretty funny.
Yeah, so
that's great.
I think it's the 6th year we funded that, and so a lot of old favorites are back. EVA is one of the signature grants. It's the elementary art program. So there'd be no art in the elementary school, professionally taught art, if not for the program.
Wow.
So there's a lot of that. One of our signature grants that we've made a 3-year commitment to and has been around for a while is the Author in Residence program. And that is where at the high school, the English department and a bunch of volunteer committee members pick a book, and that is then it's read by the high school and community members, and then we bring the author in thanks to our donors. And that's been, I think we've done that 7 or 8 years now. It's always been done in the fall, and so it's been a book you've read over the summer. But what we did this year in looking at that program really closely is both the teachers and the students felt it would be much better to have the program happen in January.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of the kids are like, I really don't like having to read a book over the summer.
Really?
Dang it.
From a library's point of view, that's just...
I know, horrible.
Yeah.
I know. We just need to incorporate that into our summer fun reading, because they could just knock off both of those with one.
Check it off.
Yeah.
But hopefully they're reading, they just don't want to read perhaps a book that's been assigned.
This is true, because I felt that way. Although the funny part is, all of those that I didn't finish that were assigned, I've subsequently read. And then they've all ended up being Sundance films. Oh. So I'm like, how weird is that?
Yeah. So they picked good books.
So they know what they're talking about. That's the message.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, because librarians do.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest.
And teachers.
Absolutely. Yes. So anyway, it came back to us that it was not good to do it in September too.
Okay.
Curriculum-wise, it didn't quite work. So we're trying to get the word out. Don't panic. You can still read the book. The author will be coming January 8th and 9th. We'll have our big public community event where she speaks, and everyone can come and join in. And Kristen has been on the committee, and so she can tell you we're so excited about the book. It's Salt to the Sea, and Kirsten's actually read it.
Oh, you've already been there.
Oh,
huh?
I've read it. Yes, in fact, twice.
Yeah, I read the Cliff Notes.
It's called Salt to the Sea, as Jen said, by Ruta Cepetis.
Cepetis. I was wondering how we pronounce it.
Yes, I actually know how to pronounce her name because I heard her speak and heard her pronounce her own name. So I know that's it. And she's actually a delightful she's the perfect guest to have come to the high school because she's very animated, very excited, very knowledgeable, and really great for students and adults alike to listen to. But this is a really interesting story based on a little-known historical event during World War II. And all the events sort of revolve around the sinking of what a ship called the Wilhelm Gustloff. I think that's it. Anyway, and it was sunk by a submarine in 1945. Unfortunately, it had 10,000 refugees on it, and 9,000 of those died, and most of them were women and children. And there are lots of, actually, the author herself has some ideas about why we don't know about this. It was the biggest maritime disaster in history.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she'll address those things. But also, it's so well written, especially for a young adult high school audience. It's very fast-paced. It's almost like a thriller. It's told in 4 different voices, some of whom you just love, and they develop these relationships between them. And one of them happens to be a Nazi, kind of an inept Nazi soldier who you grow to hate. So whenever it's his chapter, you're like, ugh, you know.
Right.
But it's just a beautiful story, and particularly timely because it's it has a lot to do with refugees.
Yeah, which is right now, you couldn't be more apropos.
And part of the library's love, we are so happy to work with the Education Foundation, Park City Library, Summit County Libraries, and Dolly's Bookstore. We've made it our one book, one community read, and so again, we're not reading it over the summer. We're going to wait and do it in the fall, but we'd love to have programming that has to go along with the book and leads up to the author's visit. So we're hoping to have someone come from the International Refugee Committee in Salt Lake City, and perhaps find a World War II speaker, and we have a film lined up. So there are all kinds of things, enrichment things.
That's great.
So watch for those in the fall.
She's been translated into 35 languages, this author, in her previous books. That's impressive. That says something about her, and sitting there in Nashville writing out books that are going worldwide in other languages. Impressive, for sure.
And her other novel,
Between Shades of Grey?
Between Shades of Grey, is being made into a film that should release shortly. So she'll probably have some things to say about that too.
And this just got picked up by Universal to be made into a film. It's won numerous awards. Yeah. It's a fabulous book. And this program, what's been so exciting, it originally was a teacher grant, actually. So 8-9 years ago, there was an English teacher at the high school, and he had this vision of, let's all kind of gather around one book with all the kids. And he sort of funded the author visit out of his pocket the first 2 years, and a few private donors. And then they came to the Ed Foundation. The high school did and asked for funding. And since then, at the same time, the One Book, One Community program, which is a national reading program that libraries and communities do, and they pick a book, and there's book discussions around it. So they were like, wow, we'd love for our readers to also be able to take part with this author visit. It's really cool that you're bringing in this author. And so I think for 3 years have we been joining forces?
3 or 4.
Wow.
Yes. So we're actually going to change the name to One Book, One Community, sponsored by PCEF. So there aren't these 2 names of author in residence and One Book, One Community. It is really a community read with the kids and the adults, and all these extra things that the libraries do are so exciting. When Boys in the Boat was the book, someone brought in a George Pocock boat that was
that came out of one of our library discussions. He said, "Oh, I've got a Pocock boat." We're like, "Oh,
in my garage.
Bring it over."
Right?
Yeah.
I think you can only do this you can't do this in the Valley. This is very special to our community. I think it's ideal that we're able to do something like this, where we can all read together, we can all celebrate it, and then get to meet the author, and so many other things go along with that.
And we love at the libraries that the parents of these kids are reading the same book. So then there's that discussion over the dinner table, and these are all books that encourage that kind of discussion. So
well, exactly. I mean, we certainly do it enough about movies. It's about time we do it about something that increases your vocabulary and helps you with so many other skills. For young people, this is a terrific idea to get everybody involved in it. It looks to be a page turner, as that's exactly what everyone else has described it as. I'm excited for this. This will be a good one.
It's very, very good.
All right, we've got just a couple minutes left, so other things that you want to talk about with PC Ed, will you have the moment?
Yes, so, well, first I just want everyone to mark January 9th now on their calendar for the community event that'll be at the Jim Santee Auditorium, the
and
Park
have
City
a book
Library.
group this summer.
That's right.
This
Discuss
summer.
it.
And, yeah, do it again
Several
in the fall.
Yes, yes, we already know that several book groups are reading it this summer. The other thing is our year does end June 30th, so if you haven't made your gift this year to the Ed Foundation, we will accept those, and then of course we'll accept them July 1 as well.
Well, of course.
For the
We will
next
never,
fiscal year,
Right, but we want to end this year on a big high note.
on a big,
Yes.
So I think this year our goal was to raise $2 million, which is a big jump from the 1.5 last year, and I believe we're almost there to hit it, and then of course that money just comes right back the next year into the schools. We don't have an endowment. You give us the money and we plow it right back into programs for our schools.
Okay. Well, as always, I want to thank you both for being here, and thanks to the Park City Education Foundation, and of course, thanks to you for being part of it. And if you aren't, you have until June 30th to make sure you're part of it this year, and then you turn around the next day and do next year's program as well. This is going to be a terrific story, certainly. So make sure you go out and get it right now and get going on your summer reading. And for the young people, if you don't want to read it over the summer, that's fine. But may I suggest that you'll get more out of it by reading it twice?
Yes.
Right?
Totally.
And I always have found, and I don't know, it certainly works with my favorite author because I typically read things by Somerset Maugham, which, because it's the King's English, there's all kinds of vocabulary that I don't have, right? So I keep a little note of the words I don't know, and I look them up.
Good
and
for you.
Try to, I think that's always a good plan, especially for young people, to increase your vocabulary.
Yeah.
But as always, this is just tremendous. The library, a great place to go as a resource for other books for this summer, and the Park City Education Foundation encouraging that reading. Thank you guys so very much, as always. I appreciate it.
Thank
Well,
you.
we've got a lot more coming up on the Mountain Morning Show tomorrow, so make sure you tune in to the program. We will be here live from 7 until 11. Our guests include the Park City, our folks from several different places. We've got somehow the same exact stuff on the rundown, so we'll tell you about that tomorrow. I don't know why. I could just tell you what we had on today. But thanks to all of our guests today, and tomorrow we'll be bringing you news, weather, and more. We'll see you from 7 to 11 right here on the Mountain Morning Show. Until then, make sure you get outside.